Okay, Harry, so you were a higher tier student before the summer, and you got a grade E in the exam. So this is your first go at the foundation tier exam paper. You're estimating that you're going to get 58, which is just about the borderline for a grade C, grade D. So let's see how close to that you get. Right, all the factors of 18. That isn't a factor of 18, that's a multiple of 18. That's what you get if you times 18 by 2. The factors are all the numbers that go into 18. So you've got 1 and 18, you've got 2 and 9, and you've got 3 and 6. Those are the factors that is a multiple. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to there. You don't get those marks. And then 1, 3, 4, 6, 6, 4, 3, 1 is the largest number, but they want it to be even. Yours is odd. So you don't get that mark. 11 and 34 are correct. 8,000 is correct. That's correct. Those are correct. You're not going to get the mark for this because you need to write them in the same form that they're given. So it's going to be 0.73, 3/4, and 77%. That's right. The total for the page: 8, 10, 12, 14, 15. 67 is correct. That's the formula. No, it's not. You've changed the formula. Okay, you have to keep the formula that they've given you, otherwise it's a completely different rule. So what you have to do here, the value is what they're giving you, equals 7 times the number, call it n, it's what we're trying to work out, plus 4. And that's what you need to try and work out. So it's an equation. You'd solve the equation, you'd take 4 off each side, which would leave you that, and then to get the n on its own, you would divide both sides by 7. So n would be 12. We will be practicing questions like that. 16, 14, 12 and 8 are correct. They're looking here for you to lay that out as a table. So they're looking for a sort of tally chart. Doesn't ask you to, so you're not going to get penalized for it, but you're less likely to make a mistake if that's what you do. So 2 marks for that, 4, and then the other 4 marks out of those 6 are for drawing the graph, and you've labelled it, it's a nicely spread out, so you're going to get full marks for that. The mode is not what you've done there. You're trying to work out a mean, although you're doing that incorrectly. The mode is the most popular, which is the biggest bar, which is rugby. So you don't get that mark. 42 is correct. The units are wrong, but that doesn't matter because they're not asking you for the units. Perimeter is length, so you're looking for centimeters, and here the units, when they're asking you for them, are correct. So that's good. So you got 10 marks on that page. 6x is correct, 66 is correct. Now, the problem that we have here is I don't know which of those are which of those. There's nothing to tell me that that isn't A, that isn't B, that isn't C. So once you've plotted them, you need to be telling me that that is B, that is A, that is C. Let me just check with the mark scheme to see whether you would get any marks for what you've done. You would get, actually, you would get the 3 marks. It doesn't say that that's what you have to do. It doesn't say plot and label. This is something you need to practice. You need to know how to use an angle measurer. Take a look at how I do it on the video and then give it a go yourself. Acute is an angle smaller than 90 degrees. What you're looking for is one that's bigger than 180, and that's called a reflex angle. So 6 marks on that page. This is a volume question. We will be practicing volume over the next couple of weeks. But if you want to have a look at how I do that on the video and get a head start, then that is great. This one is a rotation question. In the exam you'll be allowed to use tracing paper, and I just forgot to bring some down. So watch the video clip to see how to do that. Okay, so your conversion graph looks good. And then you've made a very complicated job of this here. So rather than, so what you've done is you've found 10 and then tried to multiply it by 37, where it would be much easier to find 37 and then multiply it by 10. So you made a lot of work for yourself there. Let's just check. So you are saying that that is 28. So 28 times 37. For speed, I'm going to cheat and use a calculator. 28 times 37 is 1036, which is what you've got. So you're going to get the 2 marks to that, but boy, you've made hard work of it. Find 37 multiplied by 10 is a lot easier than finding 10 and multiplying by 37. 1023, 2356, 2 marks for that, 6 for the page. 10 out of 16 is correct. Okay, so this is telling you that for every 16 people who play the game, 10 of them are likely to win. Or, for every 8 people that play the game, because you can divide both of those by 2, for every 8 people that play the game, 5 are likely to win. So if 80 people play the game, that means that you've got 10 groupings like that. So that would mean that 50 people you would expect to win. The maths, the way that you write that, is like that. 8 goes into 80 8 goes into 80 10 times. 10 times 5 is 50. Then you work out some earnings, how much money they're going to make, how much they're going to pay out. I'm not going to explain it there, but if you watch the video clip, I'll explain it in the video clip and you can have a go again. Questions like this come up very often, and it's important that you can do them. They would have come up in the higher tier as well. On Jones the Sum, these questions are called games of chance. So if you go on to Jones the Sum and look at games of chance, there'll be some there for you to practice. Okay, you can't half the bucket straight away because you've got a combination of different things in the bucket. So what you first need to do, because the bucket is the same there, it weighs the same there as it does there. So if you take those 2 away, that will give you the weight of half the water. So by doubling that will then give you the water, taking them away will give you the bucket. So your method is wrong there. 2 for the page. Wow, so you've done a complicated one, but you've left that one out. That's really weird. So we got a triangle. You need to know that the angles in the triangle add up to 180 degrees, and you need to know that that box specifically means 90 degrees. So by adding 90 and 36 together and taking the answer away from 180 will give you X. Your scatter graph looks good, and that's all right from there. So we've got 5 marks there, 8 for the page. Right, so you've missed this one out. How much does he spend on average on a Friday? Well, all of those crosses are Friday spends. So again, I would go for 100 because I can divide by 100 easily. So on your graph, 100 people would spend £490. So I would do 490 divided by 100, which is £4.90. Right, let's see what we've done here. So 42 is correct. So Manana, 42, 2 marks. For the channel water, it's not 140, it's actually 0.02 times 70 is 14, not 140. 20% off 170 wouldn't be that, so you worked out your 20% incorrectly. So here you go, what have you done? So 10% is 17, 20% is 34. Actually that's right, so the way that you worked out your percentage is right, but then you take your subtraction. Oh, I see, it's 126, sorry, I thought it was 12.6. So you get your 2 marks for that. And then as far as communicating is concerned, so channel is cheaper. It is cheaper because you worked that out incorrectly. So I'm going to give you 2 out of the 3 for how you communicated. It's a bit cramped what you've done. Still, that's not a bad attempt for that. So 2, 4, 6, 7 out of 9. That's not bad at all. Your method is right. These, however, should be multiplies, not adds. And you put a little 1 above that one. No, and that's not right. And that one is another one to do with triangles. So if you couldn't do the first one, you would certainly struggle with that. However, have a look how I explain it on the clip, and it might help you for the page. Okay, so you reckon 58. I think that's probably not a bad estimate. 15, 19, 29, 35, 37, 43, 45, 53, 60, 62. Very good. So you're not far off there. The good news is that probably wouldn't have got you a C. This one certainly will. So well done, Harrison. We're only going to get better, so that's excellent.